Yes, I have.
No, I don't know.
Yes, I've heard those terms.
I've never heard about them. Microaggressions and trigger warnings. Yeah.
No.
Yes.
No.
I've heard of trigger warnings and microaggressions before. I mostly hear them from queer people of color.
I think microaggressions are more subtle instances of like racism or sexism or homophobia, transphobia.
I mean, I think so. I took like a feminist class once. It's kind of a touchy subject.
Yeah, in high school. I mean, here it's math and science. I don't think that hurts too many people's feelings.
So I had one class in Southeast Asian department. So professor told us before that there might be some views that can be controversial to each other.
I was kind of one of the only males in the class. And I remember just being a little scared to speak up sometimes, because I think I said something one time and there was a ton of the ladies in the class that kind of just like raised their hand to really like object what I had said, and I didn't know what I had said wrong. I think after that, like I rarely, if at all, ever raised my hand again in that class.
Before a reading was assigned, I would give a kind of little introduction about what the piece was and where it was coming from, but it was never a case of, you know, opting out of something because you might have personal experience with it.
I think they are good.
I mean, yeah.
If there was not that warning, there might have been some conflicts in class. That's what I think. People might have different opinions or different perspectives, and it prepared me to accept them.
Not having trigger warnings is kind of just a little bit more like the real world.
I mean, I like to at least brace myself before I get my heart broken.
People don't always worry about your feelings, and so it might not be accurate to have everybody trying to be nice and not offend everybody, because that's just not the way the world works.
I think it is necessary that classes do have trigger warnings, especially for people who've had personal experiences with either sexual assault or rape.
Maybe try to like understand where I was coming from and try to make the class understand that, so that the discussion could be a little bit easier.
I have heard those critiques that trigger warnings can infantilize students.
I don't think it's infantilizing. I treat pedagogy as one of sharing experiences and doing so responsibly. Trigger warnings provides a way, at least for me, to lay down ground rules or frameworks in which the students and I can engage in a healthy discussion and dialogue that doesn't cause undue emotional pain or short-sightedness on someone's part.
In my experience, it's always been a much more holistic approach to looking out for your students, making sure they're engaging with each other in respectful ways.
I think oftentimes we forget that outside the classroom, outside safe spaces, people do not act fairly. They do not speak fairly or use language fairly. They use injurious words.
You definitely will harm people by not caring about microaggressions or placing trigger warnings on things. Whereas, like, if you place them, you're not going to harm anyone. You might just help someone. I
want the classroom to be a safe space where that harm can be minimized as much as possible, if not possibly eliminated.
But I guess I can imagine a really kind of blunt force use of a trigger warning, which is like, this contains this, and if you're not comfortable with this, then leave, but I've never actually seen that happen in practice.
I think I'd say that's kind of accurate. It is a little bit politically correct sometimes.
No, I don't think so.
I've noticed that people are kind of like beat around the bush on some topics and are nervous to mention things that they feel might be offensive.
I don't think we're too politically correct.
I've never understood the term PC, politically correct.
If by political correctness we mean being aware of everyone's presence and how the inequalities of power outside the classroom can sometimes affect the classroom, I think that's a positive move.
You can't really like openly regard the stereotype by like saying it outright, or else you offend somebody, right? And that kind of disturbs the point of like having a safe space to like talk about it. Like, I can't talk about it because I'm afraid of offending someone. So it doesn't feel very safe to me.
There are those who say, well, being so aware of other people makes me as an individual feel hindered or obstructed or makes me feel uneasy. I think that's a small price to pay.
You should be able to talk about anything in a respectful way.
You know, if you substitute treating people with respect for PC, people are treating people with too much respect. Like it stops being an insult?
As long as you're not harming anyone by being politically correct, I don't see why like people shouldn't make an effort to be.
I personally think Berkeley is a space where you can be what you want to be. You can say whatever you want to say, and you don't have to say if you don't want to say.
You might say something that you don't think about as much, you just kind of say joking around, but to someone it can kind of like, it could really be kind of like this like trigger thing when like now you're in a debate with someone over something that you like were just joking around with. And maybe that can stem from like this too politically correct thing. Maybe loosen up a bit.
I see the benefits of having that kind of language of political correctness, so having that kind of exercise in treating people fairly with our words. And the benefits, in my opinion, largely outweigh the things we would lose. Okay, we may have to think a little more carefully and speak a little more carefully. We'll all speak less. I think sometimes people should shut up and listen.